The movie opens on a tense night deep in the forest, where two men remain hidden in the darkness. One of them hears unsettling noises and, gripping a machete, cautiously moves toward the source of the disturbance. Before he can react, they are ambushed by unseen creatures. Amid the chaos, a young man, identified as Number 3, desperately attempts to escape. However, his efforts are futile. The Mogadorian commander catches him, snatches his necklace, and executes him without hesitation. As his body disintegrates into dust, the commander adds the necklace to a collection already hanging around his neck, evidence that this is not the first victim. Meanwhile, miles away, John Smith, also known as Number 4, enjoys a carefree day in the ocean with friends. As the sun sets, he goes for a swim with a girl, but the moment of tranquility is shattered when his leg suddenly glows. A searing pain rips through him, forcing him to cry out. In the midst of his agony, a vision appears. Number 3, sending him a warning of imminent danger. Onlookers witness John's strange behavior, capturing it on their phones and ridiculing him. He blacks out, only to awaken later on the beach where Henri, his guardian, arrives by his side. John and Number 3 belong to a group of extraordinary young individuals, each possessing unique abilities, protected by designated guardians tasked with keeping them safe. Henri immediately notices the fresh scar on John's leg and realizes the worst. Number 3 is dead. With no time to waste, he hurriedly gathers their belongings, erasing all traces of John's past, including photographs with his friends. Without looking back, they leave their coastal hideout, knowing that danger is closer than ever. During their journey, John recounts the truth of his existence. He and 8 other gifted children fled from the planet Lorien after an invasion by the ruthless Mogadorians, bald, menacing beings who now hunt them on Earth. The Mogs must eliminate them in numerical order, and the scars on John's leg confirm that numbers 1, 2, and 3 have already fallen. Now, as the 4th in line, he is their next target. To protect him, Henry assigns him a new identity and warns that staying hidden is their only option. Their destination, a quiet town called Paradise, Ohio. Upon settling into an old house, John notices a football poster of Bernie Kosar hanging on the wall. Unbeknownst to him, a small lizard has been stealthily following them, slipping into the house unnoticed. Henri, aware of the growing threat, works to erase John's digital footprint, ensuring the Mogadorians cannot track him. Suddenly, a noise outside startles them both. When they investigate, the lizard transforms into a dog. Despite Henri's initial hesitation, John insists on keeping the animal, naming him Bernie Kosar after the football player. Later that night, Henri secretly conceals a mysterious box within an old wall clock. Left behind by John's father before his death, the box holds answers, but John is not yet ready to receive them. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Number 6 arrives at their abandoned bungalow in search of John. Finding it empty, she makes a bold decision, setting the place ablaze. As flames engulf the structure, an explosion erupts, yet she emerges unscathed, revealing her apparent immunity to fire. The following morning, John, despite Henry's warnings, insists on attending school. He promises to keep a low profile, prompting Henry to reluctantly hand him a phone before letting him go. However, as John arrives at school, he realizes Bernie Kosar has followed him. While waiting for his class schedule, he notices a girl, Sarah, in the principal's office. She has been caught secretly photographing a teacher, and something about her immediately draws him in. At school, the administrative staff assigns Sarah the task of guiding John to his locker. As she leads him through the halls, Henry calls to check in, but John ignores the call. Soon after, a group of students approaches. Mark, the school's arrogant jock, introduces himself with a smug demeanor. As Mark walks away, John notices him shoving a smaller boy, knocking his skateboard to the ground. Without hesitation, John retrieves it and hands it back, forging an instant connection with the boy, Sam. Later, after school, John once again sees Sam being harassed by Mark and his friends. Anger surges through him, and he picks up a football, hurling it with unnatural force at one of Mark's lackeys, sending the guy sprawling. Meanwhile, John catches Sarah discreetly snapping pictures of him from a distance. That evening, he stumbles upon her website, where she curates a collection of her photography, including an entire album featuring him. Henri, ever cautious, swiftly deletes every photo of John to prevent any unwanted attention. Meanwhile, the Mogadorians piece together that number 4 is still alive after investigating the charred remains of the bungalow. They are now actively hunting him. The next day, while in class, John's hands suddenly emit a blinding white-blue glow, a phenomenon known as lumen, signaling the emergence of his powers. At that same moment, Henri senses a disturbance when the glow is reflected in his watch. Panicking, John escapes to a janitor's closet, desperately trying to suppress the light. Henri arrives just in time, calming him down and explaining that his abilities are beginning to awaken. Upon returning home, Henri warns him that these powers will make him stronger and faster, but until he learns control, he cannot risk going back to school. Restless, John later tests his new abilities, showing them off to Kosar before sneaking out of the house through the window. Alone in the open night, John experiments, launching a rock with that it peers into the sky, then leaping distances with unnatural grace. Meanwhile, the Mogadorian commander stalks through a grocery store, emptying shelves of food, only to dump the goods before monstrous unseen creatures lurking in the shadows. Back in town, John unexpectedly runs into Sarah and they take a stroll together. As they walk, they notice Sam across the street, tense and uncomfortable beside his stepfather. Changing the subject, Sarah invites John over for dinner, introducing him to her family. During the meal, her parents share details about Sarah's passion for photography and encourage the two to check out the town's night carnival. After dinner, they head up to Sarah's room, where John notices a scrapbook of her personal work. Flipping through, he realizes she prefers capturing moments rather than being in front of the camera herself. Their quiet moment is interrupted when Bernie Kosar unexpectedly appears outside, barking insistently. Realizing he has to leave, John makes his exit, unaware that Mark is watching him from a distance, his expression dark with jealousy. The following day, Sam corners John, demanding an explanation about what happened to his hands in class. But John dodges the question. As they talk, Mark's latest prank unfolds. Bright pink paint explodes from their lockers, splattering everything, including a cherished photo of Sam with his biological father. Furious, Sam sees red and lunges at Mark. As tensions at school escalate, John's palms start glowing again, but this time, he remains composed and quickly removes himself from the situation. In the bathroom, Sam opens up a missing father, a man obsessed with extraterrestrials. He firmly believes that his father was abducted by aliens, a claim John listens to with growing intrigue. Later, John spots Sarah in the hallway but deliberately keeps his distance, not wanting to draw more attention. Meanwhile, Henri digs deeper into Sam's father's past and follows his research to the factory. There, he uncovers strange symbols etched onto a column and stumbles upon a glowing rock known as a locator. Sensing its importance, he takes it home for further analysis. That night, John receives an invitation from Sarah to attend the Spring Scream Festival. At the festival, Sarah opens up about her past with Mark, revealing that they used to date before their breakup turned ugly. After their split, Mark exposed her secrets out of spite. Their conversation takes a back seat when they embark on a haunted carriage ride through the woods. However, the evening takes a dark turn when Mark and his friends ambush them. While John is attacked, Sarah is forcibly taken away. Sam, watching from the shadows, sees John forced to use his abilities. He fights back, overpowering Mark and nearly breaking his arm before rescuing Sarah. Later that night, he escorts her home and they share their first kiss. As he leaves, he accidentally breaks a lamppost with his palm, realizing his strength has increased dramatically. Determined to come clean, John visits Sam and reveals the truth, confirming that aliens exist and that Sam's father wasn't crazy. He warned Sam to keep this secret, as knowing too much could put him in danger. Sam, fascinated rather than frightened, swears to keep quiet. The next morning, John's troubles intensify when the local sheriff, who happens to be Mark's father, shows up at his doorstep. He accuses John of attacking his son, but John deflects, playing it off as a misunderstanding. Henri watches with silent approval, recognizing that John is growing into his abilities. Things take a turn for the worse when a viral video resurfaces, footage of John screaming in pain in the ocean, catching unwanted attention. Henri, unable to erase it, insists they leave immediately. However, John refuses, unwilling to abandon Sarah. This defiance leads to a heated argument, escalating into a brief physical confrontation between the two. Before they can resolve their dispute, Henri is abducted. Realizing what's at stake, John teams up with Sam, and together they track his location. Upon arriving at a secluded house, John instructs Sam to tail one of the men while he sneaks inside. What he finds is disturbing, walls covered in newspaper clippings about missing persons. Eventually he locates Henri, bound and immobilized. The kidnappers turn out to be conspiracy theorists working under the orders of the Mogadorians. Before John can react, a Mog bursts into the room, launching a brutal attack. John and Sam fight their way out while Henri engages the alien. Amid the chaos, Sam loses the car key, forcing John to use his powers to start the engine. As they attempt to escape, the Mog reappears, striking Henri with a fatal stab to the chest. As they drive away, Henri, weakened and near death, hands John his special knife and tracker. With his final breaths, he reveals that Sam's father was using the locator to find other surviving children from Lorien. He urges John to seek out his own kind, insisting that their combined abilities are the only way to defeat the Mogadorians. Moments later, Henri succumbs to his wounds, leaving John and Sam to continue the fight alone. Failing to capture John, the Mogadorians arrive at the hideout of the conspiracy theorists. As punishment for their failure, the aliens execute them using a merciless death device before moving on in their pursuit of number 4. Meanwhile, back in town, local authorities storm John's house, labeling him a dangerous fugitive. The situation grows more complicated when Sarah begins to suspect that John has been hiding something from her. She directly confronts him, demanding to know the truth. As they drive through town, Sam reveals an unexpected secret. His father had found another piece of the glowing rock while searching for extraterrestrial life in Mexico. Realizing its significance, they decide to retrieve it. Bernie Kosar, ever the mysterious companion, leads Sam to its hiding place. Meanwhile, John makes a stop at Sarah's house, determined to clear the air and say his goodbyes. However, their farewell is cut short when the police arrive, surrounding the house and forcing John and Sarah onto the roof. As Sarah loses her balance, she plummets toward the ground, but John instinctively uses his telekinetic abilities to save her just in time. Moments later, he further demonstrates his powers by lifting an entire police car, stunning the officers. With no other choice, John and Sarah make a daring escape, heading toward the school for refuge. Meanwhile, the Mogadorians roll into town in a convoy of armored trucks, immediately confronting Mark and his father. The Mog commander, radiating menace, demands that Mark lead them directly to John. At the school, Sam warns his friend that the Mogs have the entire perimeter surrounded. Just as things seem hopeless, a new ally arrives, number 6, also known as Jane. Armed with her unique weapons and lightning-fast reflexes, she joins the fight. The battle erupts with Jane swiftly eliminating 2 Mog soldiers. In response, the aliens unleash their flying lizards, monstrous creatures that immediately descend upon the school. As chaos ensues, Bernie Kosar undergoes a shocking transformation. The sudden change startles Sam, but there's no time for hesitation. The battle is in full swing. As the fight intensifies, Bernie Kosar proves to be a powerful ally, tearing through enemy ranks and clashing with the Flying Lister. After an intense struggle, he successfully defeats the creature, but is gravely injured in the process, ultimately reverting back to his familiar canine form. Meanwhile, Jane finds herself in trouble, desperately needing help. She calls for John to recharge her with his lumen energy, and together, they push back against the invading Mogs. Racing to the soccer field, John, Jane, and Sam face off against the Mogadorian commander and another monstrous beast. The battle reaches its climax as the trio fights in perfect sync, eliminating the guards and nearly taking down the commander. However, Jane is suddenly snatched by the monstrous creature. John rushes to aid her, using his abilities to turn the tide of the battle. In a final explosive moment, John unleashes his full power, obliterating the commander in a massive detonation. Thanks to Jane's fireproof abilities, both of them survive the blast. The next morning, John and his allies successfully connect the blue locator stones, revealing the locations of the remaining Lorien survivors. In an unexpected turn, Mark reappears, no longer an enemy. He hands John Henry's mysterious box, a final piece of the puzzle left behind by his protector. With their mission now clear, Sam makes his decision. He is joining the fight. Before leaving, John shares one last kiss with Sarah, knowing he may never return. As the team prepares to leave, a battered but determined Bernie Kosar limps onto the scene, proving once again that he's not just any ordinary companion. With danger still looming, John, Jane, Sam, and Bernie disappear into the horizon, setting out on their next journey to find the others and take the fight back to the Mogadorians.